Hello, you guys are watching the WCS Season 3 North American Challenger Montreal Edition. I'm in control, and that is Zombie Grub, and we are so happy to present these games to you guys. We hope you're happy to be here. Zombie, are you happy to be here?
I am happy, yes. Thank you.
You describe yourself as happy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you happy?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm ecstatic.
Oh.
No. I can't.
Never.
The cheese is too much there. Our next match is going to be puCK versus Scarlett. If you've missed some games, here's what you've missed. Cuddlebear battled Scarlett for about 3 minutes and 45 seconds. puCK and Future had a tug-of-war between who should lose that match. puCK was able to lose that, advancing 2-1 in favor. After that, we had Cuddlebear take on Future in what can best be described as two guys figuring out TVT at the same time in adolescence. Strangely live in front of 12,000 people or so. Now, next up, we have Scarlett taking on puCK, the #1 and #2 seed, two players that we've seen advance pretty far in tournaments. Scarlett, of course, a champion herself. puCK, we're hoping to see those kind of results maybe someday.
Maybe someday. Well, okay. He did get pretty far last Challenger.
To win a tournament? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He got close, I guess. He lost to True. So did Scarlett last Challenger, too.
In fact, in that tournament, everyone did, right? They lost to True.
That's true. That's how you become the winner.
That is true.
First place.
God, this is good. It's maybe
good
the
stuff.
spot that turns you into Fear Dragon. I'm not sure. But now we're ready to get the games going. So I will let them know. Go.
Got it.
And then after this, we have one more match. And if you can't get enough of this, groups C and D for Europe and America, respectively, will play next week at the same time at the same place, just 1 week from now. So it can't literally happen right now because we're doing this, but next week at the same time.
Yes, exactly. And then the week after that is more
Again?
StarCraft.
Yeah, even more.
Wow.
That's the scary one, though. That's for us commentators. That is the one that starts at 3 a.m. for us, and that's hoo-doggy. That's early. Well, anyways, enough about that. That's in the future. Right now, we're in the present, and in the bottom left-hand side, as the Blues are representing Canada, it is Scarlett. Playing from Korea, though. Sometimes China.
Sometimes, yeah. In the top right, has the red Protoss for roots. He is puCK.
puCK been streaming quite a bit. Actually, Scarlett, too.
Yeah.
Worth mentioning, her stream has been up there, and it's been both these players really fun to watch. It's so cool to see talented and awesome players have been around the scene for a while, sharing their gameplay at sometimes.
Yeah. Well, a lot of tournaments happen on Scarlett's stream as well.
Oh yeah, that's what it was, right? It was the
Anonymous tournament.
Anonymous.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Which I guess the loser is revealed, so Dark lost, but we don't know who the winner was.
That's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I mean, these two players have been around for a while. Scarlett clearly with the higher results. In fact, in that infographic, you saw that she was the Pyeongchang champion. Awesome stuff. But puCK did get far last season, and he does sometimes look brilliant.
Yes.
And he sometimes can play a little weird, throw someone like Scarlett off a little, although she also is the type to play weird as well. I mean, break it down, yeah, everyone expects Scarlett to make it out, but maybe puCK can do an upset. Maybe he can show us, like, you know, the best version of him, basically, and actually take her out. And that would be quite the achievement. She's no slouch. Every match she's played recently, maybe she did lose, like in GSL vs. the World, or in Valencia, but it was to really, really, really good players and really, really close.
Yeah, even then, like you said, she gave up good battles, so it wasn't like she just got completely outclassed. I guess the behind-the-scenes thing that gives me pause in terms of Scarlett's chances, if she was, you know, feeling good, practicing it at home, I would be like, okay, she makes it #1 in the group, no problem. But from Korea, a little bit of latency, and then having a little bit of fatigue issues, I guess you can call it, in the sense that she's not grinding out 100 games of StarCraft 2 every day right now.
Yeah.
And I don't say this as a mark against these players. They're training and competing at the highest level all year long, so there's going to be those ebb and flows. There's going to be times where they're like, hey, I still have my matches, I'm gonna train for them, but I'm just not putting in, you know, the 14-hour days, which that's fine. puCK, on the other hand, is on the other side of that, I find. I think puCK is putting the 10-ish hour days, and this is his main big focus. So a win out of this group and getting to those playoffs is, in my opinion, that's got to be the goal for him. Taking second is, of course, a nice consolation, but I think he wants to win here pretty bad.
That's a cool, like, almost story. It's like, obviously Scarlett does put in the hours many times, but it's almost like this talent versus this really, really hard work.
Yeah.
Or Scarlett, I would dare say, expects to make it to at least top 4, if not win Challenger. Well, top 2, I guess. Neeb and Moss have always been trouble for her, but for puCK, like that, you know, that last Challenger was quite a success for him. He's looking to repeat it, so he's putting in the work. We'll see if it pays off. The Overlord is going to scout that it was an Oracle as it passed by. Scouts the gases, is also scouted the robo, I believe, the natural. So all intel to Scarlett.
Yeah, and she's not quite like a, I do like the discussion about talent versus practice for her in particular, but one of the things that in years past when I faced her, but when you watch her play as well, you can kind of see it. She's also another well-informed Zerg. It's really hard to get a sneaky strategy by her. I think one of the, well, it's not even fair to call it a weakness, but sometimes she kind of outplays herself, right? Like she'll do some weird thing or make a risky decision against a weird choice you are making as the opponent, and that's some of the ways she falls, but I feel like it's rarely that she just didn't see something coming and it just beats her. In fact, a lot of the top tier Zergs, it feels like that's the case, right? You kind of have to outplay them or wait for them to make a mistake as opposed to catch them super off guard these days.
Well, puCK's doing pretty standard follow-up. Well, he's got 4 gateways.
4 gateways is okay. That still is going to be the double Archon. It's after that, if you see like 3 or 4 more gateways, that it then gets pretty crazy.
Yeah, cray-cray. The lanes are going to be scouting exactly for the timing of the 3rd base, as they have nothing else much to do. Phoenix going to catch an Overlord. Well, Oracle is just going for scouting. To be a little careful, though. It doesn't actually regen all its shields. Roach is a very safe option for Scarlett. Maybe she'll go into something different later on, but certainly against the Archons, Roach is safest bet, and then, well, Queen's target fire. It's all Gucci. I wouldn't say I've been particularly impressed with like puCK's Warp Prism Micro with Archons in particular, but he has at some points every now and again been known for his Warp Prism Micro.
Oh yeah, I think it's definitely a mainstay of his play. It's pretty superb. He's going to take that 3rd behind it, and it's pretty standard to open up with gateways as well. But, you know, with the 4 gateways, if you notice a weak spot, if it's just a couple of Queens coming over to deal with the Warp Prism, you can warp in some Adepts or Zealots and really accompany those 2 Archons and get pretty saucy pretty quickly. Now, I saw puCK do this on his stream. One of the things that I thought was really alarming, and I actually super like these Spore Crawlers, he'll dive real deep with the Warp Prism, like into 2 or 3 Queens and kind of try to get them to target the Warp Prism, drop off the Archons, and kill the Queens themselves. Look at that. It's as I say it, he's actually doing it.
Yeah. I thought that was quite risky, but they did start target firing the Phoenix, so it ends up going okay. Gonna grab the Queen and get away with both Warp Prism and Phoenix still alive.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Over here we still have the Oracle looking for, I guess, the 4th base timing. Did she scout the 3rd?
And it's not there yet. In fact, if you go to that 4th base, there it is. There's the 4th base hatch now. Oracle will spot it, but it's a little bit late. I will just a little bit. I'm not going to try to make it the biggest of deals, but we're seeing Hydras come out already. Well, as I was about to say, there's the Infestation Pit. I was going to say maybe she's looking to do a big muscly, you know, attack, but I don't think so.
Oracle.
Does it make it out? The Sparkle
I don't think.
moved.
Yeah, they did. There's not enough Hydras either out quite yet. So that lives. Warp Prism lives. Isn't actually doing very much. It was going to try and maybe get this creep spreading Queen, but unable to do so. Getting Storm, Charge, Immortal Count's looking alright. Maybe some static defense over at the 3rd base as well. But I don't know if, did he see the Infestation Pit?
I thought so.
I think he did, like, yeah, right. I think it passed right over it.
Yeah. The kind of funny thing about the Oracle trying to survive there is it actually ends up seeing everything, right? It just, the 4th base timing, all the text. What it didn't see, is the, look at that. Swarm hosts. Now that's interesting.
Nearly as good, but puCK has not done a lot with his Warp Prism. He has just retreated back home for the most part. Oracle and like a couple of Adepts, I guess, looking to do something here. And they might even scout the Swarm Host. Oh, that's nice. It's really nice.
And get some drones for themselves too. You know, I just saw something that I think more people should be aware of, and it's kind of alarming. If you don't buy the skins as a Zerg, but you create a changeling off a skinned Zealot, you get access to that skin for free.
Wow. Game breaking. Whoa, 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 whoa.
We're going to call that the Korea to USA tax.
I guess so. That must have been a particularly bad
I mean, she's certainly going to call it that, so we might as well get ahead of the narrative here.
Yeah, nice stasis trap on the Lings too. I mean, that was a lot of units to let go. And the Swarm Hosts, like this defensive type of play is usually not their strong suit, although for now, they will be the temporary defense, temporary measure, maybe. Against top of the Archons, where they're being microed away, and is this puCK's time? Is this how he's gonna go down?
Oh, with that War Prism, it's pretty good. A lot of Zealots here, though, whether, excuse me, the Roaches. There we go, I got it out.
Okay.
But with the Immortals in the background anyways, it's just too much damage behind that, and I think the idea was good, but the time between waves from the Swarm Host is just too big, right? They're not going to help here for a while.
No, I feel like puCK might have just done it here. A couple more Zealots being warped in, and that would probably be it. He's got Storms on the way on these High Templar. In fact,
This is funny, he's down 40 supply, but we're like, I think he did it.
Well,
He's going to win right here.
yeah, so much supply is over here. Oh,
Yeah.
finally the Locusts are back, though. This is their time to shine. Come on. Oh, they go on a Zealot. Wow.
They land way or too early.
That is not ideal. But with the surround going down, I think that this might just be something that Scarlett can clean up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was close, though. That was like, you know, if the... maybe he pushes in a little bit faster, maybe he has 16 more charges right then and there, then it is game over, but she was barely able to hold on once the Locust Wave popped back up, take care of the War Prism with the Archons, and now it's puCK, who's definitely on the defensive.
Yep, just staying there a little bit too long. I thought he had the right idea, but the Zealots, they just kind of evaporate pretty quick, and then you're on those key expensive units when they die for Protoss. It's a huge deal. Now puCK, to try to get back into this, he actually started as the fight was going. It's the lower right for his fourth, which is really, really weird, right? Because Scarlett is super scouting where the normal fourth goes. If she never sees this, it can send some kind of misinformation that she might think she has to end the game right now, and she very well may be able to do that, by the way. But if not, and puCK can hold on, and that base goes undetected, that is one of the ways a Protoss can sneak back into the game and steal it.
Yeah, certainly. This is a situation where now that puCK is on the defense of the Swarm Hosts, they can really start to... Yeah, I mean, maybe they're not getting on the top of the fourth base, but they're getting on top of a couple High Templar. Natural is going to be under fire. Oracle goes down, so number one relation for later on. Robo is going to go down as well. I mean, that's a lot of damage taking the Roaches and Hydras, though, so that was a lot for a Robo. Oh, Zealots find the Swarm Host as well.
Not bad. I mean, if they just launch their wave here defensively and you pull back the Zealots, or I guess fight for units. I was going to talk about how it's pretty good. I think it still is for puCK. Scarlett is not sensing that base, by the way, and there's even a probe transfer going over to it right now, which, I mean, he risked 3 probes to get the, anyways, it works, so it's fine, but if it goes past an Overlord, the jig's up. Now, it is going to be puCK pushing out here again, and there's just this full surround. I think he can't do it.
No, I don't think so. Not even that many Storms either. It used already on the defense, so with the Concave anyways, wouldn't have mattered. Some sort of units here, and puCK, once again, being a little too over-eager. Well, this was a lot more obvious than the last fight, too. Yeah. So a lot of expensive units going down. And, I mean, thankfully, he does have that fourth base. And Scarlett soon should start scratching her head, like, why does he continue doing this? How does he continue doing this? But for now, still not checking. It's going to go over to the north side with a bunch of drop overlords with nothing in them.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to be a fake or if she's going to send some units over there soon.
Yeah, it looks like she might send some units to try and defend against the Zealots, and then they can double up and go over there. But to your point, there is going to be that fourth base just now, so it kind of looks like a Protoss that tried to be really aggressive, failed, and is now falling back on that base. I still think puCK is completely miles and miles behind, even with the hidden expansion. Every fight we see, he's getting reset on those critically important units like Immortals, like Archons, and like Templar. And because he's never able to get to that snowball stage, it just looks like he's trading now with a much more rich and powerful Scarlett.
Yeah, she certainly has become rich over the time. 5 bases, 75 workers. I mean, puCK's on 4 with still 73, even after he lost 6. It's not bad, but right, he's not able to get to that.
It's the
really,
army.
Yeah, good army. The one opportunity he was given after the first fight failed, he just kind of threw away into a very questionable fight. Stalkers are warped in because he saw the Overlords with the... Oh, wow, Phoenix is freaking out.
Yeah, he matched me in the pilot, and they're like, I can't believe it.
Yeah, that supply's been over there for a while, and it's even if he brings the Stalkers to the front lines, they're not particularly good units.
No, it's all about army, and it's such a strange and different situation, right? Because more often than not, when we see a Protoss lose, it's because they obviously fell behind in a base got canceled or picked off, but not the case here. Of course, as I say that, a base does die. Now puCK, what is he going to do to try to get back into this? He's still running these Zealots around. He is getting on top of the Swarm Host, but we saw how that went last time. They just kind of run away, a few die, and then the wave comes out, and Zealots just do not trade well there. Now they're going to get the hatchery, and I'd love it if he pulled back. Okay, he's starting to do that.
Yeah. See, that was nice. I think he took down a few Swarm Hosts. Well, total 13 have been lost, so not too shabby there. And he is going to get his 5th base up, unbeknownst to Scarlett. She thinks that's a 4th still. Yeah, there's absolutely no scouting to the bottom right. You think a Ling or this Locust or something has actually accidentally gone over there, and it's not happened.
And the funny thing is the Zealots keep coming back from there, so at some point she'll be like, oh, I guess there's a pylon. She'll find out that the entire livelihood of the Protoss is based off that base. Now she's going to push up here. And again, this army's so scary, but the Protoss is getting closer to that kind of army again, right? Like Stalkers by themselves, like you said, I agree, they kind of suck, but if there's Storms behind them, 4 or 5 Archons and Immortals, yeah, that's the army that can start doing stuff.
I think she was trying to target the High Templars. Almost worked out, but it's just going to go for the 4th base. Actually, wasting time on a pylon. There we go. Focus fight right now. puCK is going to try and take, once again, the momentum. Every single time he gets a little bit of momentum, he can try and counter. And actually, a large number of Zealots all being worked in that hidden base. Catch a lot of Hydralisks. That's good.
Yeah, and Scarlett is making the army. So when you look at the army supply, a lot of that is the 16 Hydras getting made right now. But for the most part, it is just these Swarm Hosts. She's throwing down a bunch of sack defenses because she's realizing that where the hell did this Protoss army come from? Behind this, both the Nexuses are being remade. puCK has the stronger army right this second. But Scarlett being patient with those Swarm Hosts, not going for it just yet. Now she trundles forward. And there's the whole army.
Yeah, that's a lot of Locusts with a really nice Hydra concave. Not many like impressive storms, but still a lot of storms are coming down. A lot of the supplies in the Swarm Hosts, but those Hydras still just barely kicking through, actually being chased through the storms, and yet still don't quite go down. They're super weak though, and should be like one-shot from these Immortals. Wow.
Scarlett, you took 6 storms to the teeth. You can't quite, I mean, again, she's okay. The Swarm Hosts are really, you know, we both were kind of like, Swarm Hosts, interesting call. That has been the lifesaver here. We go back to that first fight where it was like, Scarlett might die here, but the Swarm Host call ends up being so brilliant. And now in every fight since then, she's like losing until the Swarm Hosts just unload their fury.
Yeah, that's a lot of storms again. puCK is
puCK's a fan.
A lot of gas.
Yeah, so he's a big fan.
Almost worked out.
Still has 800 gas, by the way.
Yeah.
I'd love to see some more Archons, because that's how you deal with.
Does she finally realize? There's like an Archon just came from that bottom right base.
I don't think so. Well, I mean, maybe. Yeah, she can't get to it yet.
She can't do anything about it. She did scout the top base, and it is done, but that's a Hydra army, so to kill it, unless he recalls. Is he gonna recall? Nope. He's gonna try and tackle the Swarm Host. He knows there's a good chunk of army supply that's killing a Nexus. So maybe again, it's time to take the army fight.
And he's on top of the Swarm Host. That is one of the better ways to get, you know. Again, we need Archons. There's the partial recall. Oh, she's going for the natural.
Yeah, well, I guess that makes sense, but that was all of his
Where did he recall? Oh my god, he recalled bottom right, didn't he? No, okay, that base. I've done that, dude. If you just, a nice little warp-in wall. That's cool. He needs a Dark Shrine real bad, by the way. I mean, it might be too late for it, but...
She's going to finally see the 4th base for real, and is going to realize there's a ton of cannons down there, too.
puCK's holding on.
He is, but now we have another problem, another free units coming out here. Brood Lords are on the way.
Yeah, that'll be a problem. I don't even think he has Blink, does he?
No, he made these Stalkers just for the Overlords, never got Blink. And certainly doesn't have the means to get into a Stargate with a Fleet Beacon, so this is... I mean, he's got to hope the Brood Lords are caught severely out of position.
They can't be, right? They're up there on that high ground. Maybe this base... no, the base... I mean, look at all the spines. This is... He's like, I'm fighting, I've got a chance. Then you see that and you're like, oh. No.
No, not really. He will have to catch all of these units severely off guard. And then he can probably take on the Hydra army. But gonna see the Brood Lords. What do? You run. That's what you do.
You might even wonder why he even thought about poking up there. It's because it's at that situation where he kind of has to force something. But it's so impossible that even in that situation where you're like, maybe I have to do this right now, he can't. So he's starting Blink. He's actually only just now realizing his Cybernetics Core was picked off in that Hydra flank attack, so he can't even make Stalkers. It's only Archons if he wants to make anti-air. Now, the units are actually hilariously out of position here. The Brood Lord's getting picked off a little bit. Storm as well. Off creep, this army doesn't look nearly as intimidating and scary.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, if there were stalkers at that one moment, then
Broodlings.
that's like 5 Broodlords killed, but there's still a lot more Broodlords behind that. The Broodlings are just overwhelming. As the High Templars just try and kill Broodlords. Swarmhost went another direction, by the way, so they're in the natural. Killing that, they could definitely kill this base, which is never mined, by the way, I'm pretty sure. It's been completed like 5 times now, but it's never mined.
puCK is down to 45 probes, so he does have all these Nexi, but he doesn't really have the ability to saturate them. Now, the good news is for him, with these Broodlords showing up, he actually has these other bases that he could then recall the probes away from bottom right and kind of salvage the loss if he does go that route.
Probably should.
As a recall. He's just going to pull him out, okay.
Yeah, but unfortunately he loses the base that would have been what he transferred to. That's unfortunate. Not that he could have saved it either. Swarmhost going to continue. Just expand somewhere else. Maybe she won't notice this one. But this bottom right base is definitely a goner. Third base is going to be under fire very, very soon. And puCK is just desperately trying to base trade, basically.
Yeah.
Base race, maybe?
Bet. There's Swarmhost right behind him. And actually the Templar putting in there.
Wow,
Look at that.
okay. You go, High Templar. You go. Well,
that is
that
the
helped.
North American donation is what we'll call that. This army's scary. There is still a lot of Hydras. The Broodlords are making their way to the only mining base for the most part right now. The problem is puCK doesn't have a big bank, right? Like any unit that gets picked off, Scarlett's got 3,000 minerals to work with. She's got a couple more remaxes, so just the war of attrition is going to be rough here.
Yeah, definitely. But that is like 12 High Templar, all with Storm, a lot of Storm. So Hydras probably aren't going to be what kills this army. The Broodlords will eventually be able to come back. I mean, she could plant hatcheries and more hatcheries anywhere she wants. You know,
Right.
that would build
She can make
3,000
30
minerals.
or whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds like great math. But like that's, this is all still going in favor of Scarlett. Even though puCK has made quite the game out of this from the very first fight that almost looked like he would, maybe overwhelm in a slightly different scenario to the rest of the fights that sometimes looked one-sided, sometimes were a little bit closer. I mean, it's a 20-minute game, and he's still making it look like a maybe, but it's a very small maybe.
Is it top? It's
Oh,
top.
this base, yeah. Yeah, he barely saves it.
All right. Those 100 mineral hatcheries. She can now make 36 of them. Okay, get some corruptors. It's the Broodlords though, right? She can't. puCK can't win a straight-up fight. Is the big? As I say that, they come bunched up over here, but no. I think once the Broodlings get spawned, it's like it's actually too much.
Yeah,
they can't even get in position to storm.
4 Stalkers, 1 Phoenix, and 11 High Templar. That's the anti-air.
Oh, there's a Phoenix out there.
Yeah, I know, right? He did kill all the corruptors, I think. Or she turned them all to Broodlords. Well, this is going to come down to a last building, potentially. Oh, no, puCK's not going to let it. GG. He does tap out.
Good game. I kind of forgot that was even our first game because it just went so back and forth and for a while there. And it feels like a century ago, but puCK did have the game. It looked like he had the game anyways. It ends up being that he did not. But Scarlett with a good defense, interesting composition, and able to make the right calls to get the win for herself.
Yeah, it did feel like a little unorthodox though, and almost a little like, did you have to play that way? Couldn't you have played like a more like a linear path of those Broodlords? And
you always say that about her though, right? Like it's always kind of like every.
Unorthodox.
Well, she just does it her own way.
Oh yeah, okay, that is true, yeah. But it almost was that mistake. It almost was puCK having that momentum and the Swarmhost not having their locus and that typical problem, and then. Once that, kind of moved past that, you could see where Swarmhosts are very good. They did kind of suffocate puCK and force him to make some probably rash decisions. I know the second fight that went down, we definitely questioned that one. We were like, well, that just clearly wasn't going to work. And it's probably because he felt like he had to. The Swarmhosts were getting too high in numbers. So.
Well, I feel like if you were ever to criticize puCK for like a general gameplay flaw, it would be that, and it's tough to say this because you either win or lose by this very same concept, but he's overly aggressive sometimes, right? Like, and across the board, all his matchups, sometimes there's a little bit too much of a blink forward, diving too deep with a tech choice or something like that. But like I said, you also win games off of that. Like he could have just beat Scarlett with a slightly better conservation of the army there at that fight and maybe pull back, amass a few more Archons, that kind of thing. But even then, like you said, if he just doesn't take that second really bad fight where he lost like 4 Immortals, 6 Templar, and 3 Archons, if that fight never happens, and then you add to that 3 or 4 more Immortals and Archons, maybe that army never stops. Because then the Swarmhosts hit that weird point where they're like, this is really good. Then they get stormed and 4 Archons, and it's like, wow, they're terrible. That doesn't do anything, right? Yeah,
that second fight certainly was. I feel like that was the tipping point because he did have that 4th base that she didn't know about, and we saw that go unscouted for a large portion of the time. But so it is. That's how it goes. We are spawning into Catalyst now. And on the bottom right, up 1 after that game, she is Scarlett.
Getting closer to the $300,000 winnings club, if you will. Her opponent in the top left-hand side, coming from the Dakotas, it's puCK. I believe North Dakota.
I think so. Wouldn't it be cool if there was like an esports club for 300,000 plus? They give you like a gold
A nice
card
jacket.
and-
Oh, card? Okay.
Well, I mean, you always have a membership card, right? You gotta show it to the right people. I don't know what you get for being like a high earner in esports. Probably a lot of swag. Esports love swag.
I don't know. Yeah, I wish I knew.
You get dozens of
We need
StarCraft
Todd here.
team
That's what.
cups.
See, now that's what Todd can do that Roddy can't. Is talk about it from the perspective of that. Actually, how much did Todd win? Do you know?
I have no idea.
I know it's over. It's like well over 200, I believe, thousand. But I thought maybe 300.
That I really don't know. No.
The Warcraft 3 days, man.
They sounded fun.
Yeah, you weren't playing Brood War though, were you?
No, I was actually playing Warcraft 3, but I was playing custom games.
Oh, okay.
Life is a Villager, you know.
StarCraft 2 brought up the competitive side in you, the desire to smash skulls.
Well, no, sports did that, but
Ah, what was your sport?
I played all the sports.
All of them.
Yeah, basketball, rugby, football, soccer,
A lot of respect for rugby. That is.
discus. Rugby's how I got my
I
scar.
was crap at track and field, man. They wanted me to throw a shot because I was a big guy, but like that takes a lot of form and technique.
It does actually. I was not very good at shot put. I was okay at discus and hammer, but I had a friend who she's like 6'5" or something like that, extremely tall. She comes in a track and field day, like tryouts day, and she's like, I'm gonna go running, and I was like, don't do that. Don't do that. Like, come over here and throw with us. And she did, and then she went on to get like a scholarship for like Penn State.
Are you really? Is this story true? You're the person that said, "Don't do that. Come over here and do this."
Yeah, absolutely true, right?
My
Like she
God.
she saw like people running, and she was like, I don't know. Like my parents want me to do this, and I was like, well, don't do it. Like you can be in track and field, but you can do the field part. We don't run that often.
Fun fact: the name of the girl, Harston, goes on to be a professional StarCraft 2 player.
Yes, exactly.
It all starts in Virginia with Zombie Grub.
Exactly. Yeah. That is the truest part of that story. Thank you. So I don't know if Scarlett's gonna play with Swarm Hosts again, but I don't see why not. I mean, it ended up working out, and if she wants to play with that today, then so be it.
You're doing the tasteless thing. It's one of my favorite questions that he asks himself every broadcast.
Uh,
Someone will do like a Banshee, and he'll be like, Dan, I don't know if we're going to see Banshees again. And Dan, who's the nicest guy on planet Earth as a commentator, will be like, Nick, I don't know if we will either. You know what? Will we?
It's a good question, though.
Is it a good question?
Do you think we'll see Banshees?
Oh, no!
No!
We could not. It's 50-50 as far. I crunched the numbers. It's a 50%er.
Well, apparently we're very good with numbers today. 30 hatcheries for 3,000 minerals.
You know what's funny? And I'll just say this right now. It's not even like I was joking when I said that. In my head, I was like, yeah, it's about 30 hatches. Then when you said, oh, that's good math, I started to be like, oh, no. Is it not? And I thought, and I was like, well, of course it's not. I like it, though. Because for me, that's funny, and it happens. I'm thinking of other things. There's all kinds of stuff going on. But there's somebody, not even somebody, there's 10 people watching who are like, oh, my God. He thinks 300 into 3,000's a million or something? He's like, God, he's so stupid. And I love the world where, like, I get out of here, I put on my knee pads, I put my helmet on, hop into my Fisher-Price car, and I'm like, well, it's off to work for me, boys. I'll be back later. God, it controls so stupid.
There's no sport crawler here, but there are 2 queens, so that's fine. I was talking about like the old like 4 score and 7 years ago, and I got score wrong. I thought it was 25 years, and it's 20.
Yep.
And Twitch chat was like, well, now I'm really cringing. 'Cause they really love saying that. Like anyone ever talks like who talks about scores? No one does. Who cares?
Well, if you get the reference wrong, though, they're just like, ugh. Were you even alive?
Am I
in the
even an American?
1700s?
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a good question. Very good. This Oracle is being surprisingly annoying. That's 6 runs.
Is it
7
surprising?
runs?
So that's like the Oracle is the Reaper of Protoss, man.
I mean, I didn't expect to have it. Like the fact that she didn't have a spore crawler and the second queen's out of position in the first place is kind of weird, actually. So
It is a lot. It's pretty good, especially for this day and age where Oracles like pretty reliably get maybe 2 kills, and then their role is just a scouter for the rest of the game.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. It is the same follow-up, by the way. So War Prism, Archons. Maybe we'll see a similar attack to where he did almost win, but we do have different composition here for Scarlett. She didn't rely so much on the roaches. It is a Ling Hydra.
Yeah,
so.
this is me, by the way. So I try sometimes to be that cool Protoss farmer. You know what, everyone's doing Archon drops. And like the 3 times I tried it, it's this. You show up, and there's already 12 Hydras, and they have speed. And you're like, how does this ever work? Why did it work? And it's fun, because it's like the meta thing in the matchup, right? For a while, nobody was doing this. So they were doing roaches or just pure queens. They were lighter on the gas. But now, nope, sometimes Hydras show up like this, and your opening is crap.
Yeah, but if puCK had chosen to go for a charge at all in, then we're all laughing at Scarlett right now.
I know. Yeah, exactly right.
But no, this is a nice... Unless she splits incorrectly, which I don't think is going to happen. There's nothing else happening. There's no second War Prism. There's no Zealots charging on the right side, which you just have some scouting for, just in case that is a possibility for some Protoss. As you go into third base, lots of gateways. I mean, Scarlett is going for quite a few Lings and Hydras. No upgrades yet.
And I feel like this is going to be...
Yeah.
If I have to be the cooler commentator, and I don't mean coolers as in hip and rad, I mean I'm going to chill the excitement. This is going to be very one-sided as far as I can tell. This is... Yeah. I think the War Prism might not even be here for this.
That does seem to be the case. It missed the Hydras. It didn't see the Banelings. The Phoenix missed
Archon's warping in for the anti-timing.
Yeah, no, right. Yeah, there's no shield battery that was cautiously put down either. This is just a big surprise for puCK. It's a sad little Guardian shield right there. Oracle's even taken out, and yeah, you're right.
Yeah. When Zealots are like, I guess we go into the Banelings. Here we go.
Yeah, the War Prism's desperately making its way back now. But 2 Archons and War Prism against a lot of Hydras. 16.
Archons are good, but not that good.
Yeah, and puCK's War Prism micro can be good, but he needs...
But not that good.
Yeah. GG. Nice decision by Scarlett to just go for... the all-in dedicated pressure, whatever you want to call it, and puCK was entirely surprised by it.
And not to be the I told you so guy, but like that's part of the reason why we're seeing this style in particular phase out of the meta a little bit. You're still seeing Archon, you're still seeing War Prism, and this opening is still viable, but kind of like you said, where if it's a Zealot all-in, we're laughing at Scarlett, that same coin flip exists for this build, where like Scarlett's like, I think this is what you do. I'm going to do a Hydra Ling, not quite all in, but timing attack. And if you do that opening you did in game 1, you are just dead. And I'm sorry, guys, if the War Prism and Archons are back at home, if the Archon finishes at the 3rd, it's still very one-sided. It's not even close.
Still very difficult, indeed. So Scarlett makes it out first in her group, which is not too surprising. Now we get to see who it is going to be for puCK versus Cuddlebear.
It's a little bit of the same feel as like when Need made it through his group. It's like, you know, again, Scarlett can trip up sometimes, but this time she took care of business. We're going to see her at the end of the month in that final round of North America where she rightfully belongs. But who will be joining her? We're going to go to that Decider match next. Not Decider, excuse me. No, it is Decider. Excuse myself again. It's Cuddlebear versus puCK in a TVP. It'll be the final match of the day. Hope to see you guys there in just a few moments.